The first step in every project is to create a model representing the existing conditions. Typically, these models are built from a collection of surveyed points. In this lesson, we'll take our first look at Civil 3D point objects. As you can see, I've just launched Civil 3D, and I'm sitting in the empty default Drawing 1 file. We saw earlier that this drawing is based on the stock Imperial template. To create a point, I'm going to come up to the Create Ground Data panel, and I'll open the Points menu. Right away, we can see that there are many ways to create points in Civil 3D. For right now, I'm going to choose Point Creation Tools at the top of the menu. This brings up the Create Points toolbar, where you may think there are even more ways to create points. In fact, the icons that we see in this toolbar are many of the same features that we just saw in that flyout menu. Using the toolbar, we can create points both manual and automatic based on several types of objects. We can create points at measured intersections. We can create points relative to alignments and surfaces. We can create interpolated points. And we can create points relative to slope or grade measurements. For right now, I just want to create a simple basic point. I'll do that using the Miscellaneous Manual option here on the left side of the toolbar. I will then click to specify the point location on screen, and then I'll give this a description. We'll say this is a ground shot, so I'll type GR and press Enter. That would be representative of the code that was typed in the field when the shot was taken. For point elevation, I'm going to type 300, and I'll press Enter. I will then press Escape to get out of the command. Let's zoom in on the point shot. Now, when you first insert a point into Civil 3D, you may expect to see maybe the point description or the point elevation here. In fact, we do not. That is because when you insert points, unless they are told otherwise, their display property is controlled by the point group that they're in. And using the stock template, by default, these point labels are turned off. Let's take a look. I'm going to go over to the Prospector tab. This is where the data in the drawing is stored. Just a little review. Here's the points category. We can see that there is data in this category. If I click the points heading, we can see in the preview area the point that I just created. I'm going to expand the point groups category, and you can see as soon as we created a point in this file, Civil 3D generated an all points group. If I select this, we can see that point number 1 is a member of this group. I'm going to right-click on the all points group and choose Properties. And right here on the Information tab, down at the bottom, we can see the object style and label style assigned to this point. Currently, the label style is turned off. I'm going to open the menu, and I'll choose Point Number, Elevation, and Description. And I'll click OK. That looks better. Let me zoom out. We can now see the data associated with that point. I'm going to create another point. Once again, I'll come up and click Miscellaneous Manual. I'll click to set the location on screen, and we'll say this point represents an existing catch basin. For a description, I'll type CB, and I'll press Enter. For elevation, I'm just going to type 295, and I'll press Enter. And then I'll press Escape to get out of the command. Note that this point looks exactly like this one. That's because both points are in the same group, so they're both getting the same marker and label style. Normally, with a catch basin, though, we would want this symbol to look like a catch basin. Let me show you how we can make a change. I'll do that by selecting the point, and then I'll go over to the Properties palette. Mine is anchored to the interface. If yours is not displaying, you can always press Ctrl+1 to bring this up on screen. In the palette, right here, we'll find the object style and label style associated with this point. Currently, they're both set to default. That means it's getting its properties from the point group. I'm going to open the Style property, and I'll choose Catch Basin, and then I'll press Escape to deselect the point. That looks better. I'm going to pan these over, and we'll create another point. We'll say this point represents a property corner, so for the description, I'm going to type FIP, Found Iron Pipe. For elevation, I'll just type 275, and I'll press Escape. Let's change the display properties of this point. I'll select the point object, I'll go over to the Properties palette, and then for the object style, I'll choose Iron Pin. Let's change the label style as well. I'll open the label style setting, and I'll say you are no longer going to take the property assigned to the group. Instead, you are going to use the northing and easting label style. And I'll press Escape when finished. After we start inserting points this way, you may start to wonder, what if there were 50 iron pipes or 50 catch basins? Do we have to format all of these points manually? Fortunately, the answer is no. Using a feature called description keys, the appropriate marker and label can be assigned to every point automatically. We'll take a look at description keys in the next lesson.